Hey guys, I'm so excited to welcome you to this safe space. So, this is new. New for us. Okay, I want to welcome you to Grace Over Grind, the podcast. This is the place where we are trading our chaos for clarity. This is a place where ambition is going to meet ease. And this is a place where we can do the soul work to help us to reach our maximum potential and reach our really like blow the lid off of our next level. And we're going to do it together, girls. And I'm so excited for this space. So, if we've never met before, I'm Sharice Jones. I am a wife. I am a very loud laugher. I love love. I'm a twin mom. And I also happen to be a CEO who has grown this brand. It even like blows my mind to say. You ever just like step back and just like be in awe of the things that you have done? Girl, do that. Okay? Like we done playing small. We're done. We're so done with it. Girl, do that. So what kind of captivated me is that I am the CEO of a brand that I have scaled to $100 million in a very short amount of time with no investors after having my twins. Yeah. It's mind blowing to even think about. But in that scale and in that growth, I have been able to look back and see so many nuggets, so much wisdom, and so much truth and authenticity that has helped me to get where I am and will continue to grow it to continue to go to the next level. That I only feel it is right to share those things so that we, the world, a strong, beautiful woman, do not have to learn by failure, can eliminate some of that trial and error. So anything that I have that I can give away so that we're not out here just figuring it out alone, girl, sign us up. Welcome to Grace Over Grind, the podcast. Okay, so today we're going to talk about my three biggest mistakes that I have made in business. And boy, there's so many. But I'm going to do my best to sort of like morph them into the biggest three. So we're going to go from 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, number 3. The biggest mistake or the top 3 mistake that I would say in just looking back over building a brand, and this is not just specific to business, all right? So this podcast and specifically this lesson is for any woman who is entering into a new space, getting married, getting a new job, starting a new business, whatever it is, right? It's so applicable across the board. My number 3 mistake would be to not, I did not do the inner work soon enough, right? So I scaled this brand starting in my 30s. And I noticed that, when I first started out, it was totally supposed to be like, I saw it as a solo gig. It was very much a side hustle. I was not checking for a team. I was not checking for staff. I was not checking for nothing. And for real, if you want to take a 3.A lesson, I would say it's also not dreaming big enough. Because when I started, it was just to get from point A to point B. I didn't even think that point Z and Y, let alone point M, was even possible, right? So when I needed my first employee, the intention was to get some of this work off of me, find someone who enjoys the work and it's their zone of genius so that I can stay and stick to my zone of genius. Otherwise, I've just created a job for myself, right? And so when I did that, I started to notice that there was some struggles of like giving the task to someone, but also trusting them to do it fully and trusting their genius that I am paying, that I've hired them for to actually take it from A all the way to the end zone, to completion. And I'd want to have my sticky fingers in it. Still, I deal with those tendencies to this day. It's definitely grown and improved. But I noticed in the beginning, I was like, oh, like, why can't I trust? Why can't I trust? And so if you are that girl, I am with you. Okay. Let me just affirm that that thing is real. And it's a very like weird, slimy place to be. So, what I found out for myself is that my trust issues actually related to abandonment issues as a child. I had a beautiful upbringing, a very beautiful life, but I was also born into an unwed teenage relationship. And I ended up getting everything that I needed, but there's always that mom and that dad factor that I had always yearned for on both ends. And so fast forward into having people around and inviting them into my space. And psychologically in my head, I'm always worried about them walking away the way that my mother and my dad did. If you can, if you can piece that together. So if there's any area in your life where you're like, this has caused me to not trust people, you can start to see how you'll create barriers for yourself that tend to prevent you from moving forward. But sis, can I tell you, there's hope and we can trust and we can do this and we're going to do it, right? Here's what helped me. Therapy, yes, huge, right? But the bigger work is rewiring your brain. Okay. And it took me about a good 90 days when I first started to notice this pattern. It takes about 90 days to really rewire the transmitters in your brain. Some say it's 45, some say it's 60. I think 90 is a really good solid place to land. What that looks like is you practicing and saying to yourself and collecting new information about whatever it is that you need to believe, whatever it is, whatever the place is that you need to arrive at. You behave, you think, you speak as if you were already there. This is not fake it till you make it at all. This is rewiring the relationship that you have with yourself. This is rewiring the thoughts that are created by you from the stories that you've lived through, right? And so I'll take something for example, right? So remember I talked about my upbringing, right? Once upon a time, I would lead with me not having enough. I would lead with this teenage pregnancy story or whatever it is, right? I know that I'm enough and I had everything that I need. So I lead with that. And I continue to lead with that and I continue to rewrite my own story. And you do the same. So I want you to think about, even in your journaling, whenever you do your journaling, in the morning or in the evening, I want you to really sit with the limited stories that are preventing you from moving forward to your next level. It could be a broken relationship. It could be trust issues. It could be abandonment issues. It could be self hatred. It could be self worth issues. Whatever you define is because it always boils down to like one thing, whether it's not believing that you're enough, whatever it is, it always boils down, it always comes back to one center space. We're going to begin to heal that space with how we talk to ourselves. Okay. So, what that looks like is I'll give you a mantra or an affirmation. I am enough regardless of what happens around me. I am enough regardless of what happens around me, right? I am enough regardless of the stories that they tell. I am enough regardless of how the outcome ended up. And whatever mantra you want to accept from what I just offer, and definitely feel free to create your own. Every single time that comes up, you you got to challenge the thought. Okay. So whenever it comes up, it's like, okay, I'm having a limiting belief right now. You are instantly getting into the habit of not overcoming the limiting belief because that's just too much for right now. It, it's just getting into the habit of challenging it. On God, right? Right. We're getting into the habit of actually challenging it so that we know it's not normalized, right? So we're gonna unnormalize it. So it's for me, the number three lesson was definitely and continues to be like in everything that we do in any relationship, it's really, really doing the deep inner work. Just a little, backstory about me, even right now, is I am doing the inner work to detach myself from attachment. Yeah. Girl, yeah, from attachment, right? And so those things stem from trust issues and all of everything that we just talked about. But yeah, it's like, no, I have to constantly, anytime that I feel attached or the need to be needed, it's challenging that with, nope, I'm worthy regardless whether I'm needed or not. And that frees me up. As soon as I believe the new story, as soon as I reframe, it frees me up to move on to the next level. It frees me up to not think and overthink. It frees you up to be able to serve whoever is on the other side, waiting to learn from your triumphs, waiting to learn from what you are getting through and what you are going through. There's someone on the other end that's waiting to learn from it. So I would say for me, definitely the number three is not doing the work soon enough and identifying it soon enough. But hey, listen, when we're done working, we're dead. When we are done working, we're dead. And I'm not dead. I am living till I am 103, darling. I am living till I am 103. And there is no shrinking. Can we please stop the shrinking? Who is it for? It's certainly not serving us. It causes us to miss opportunities. It causes us to miss out on our true actual purpose. Who cares what anyone thinks? The only person that matters is what you think, which is the reason why we are reframing how we think, right? Because our thoughts are so important. So, girl, yeah. Reframe those thoughts, do the inner work so that we can get free and we can move forward. You got it? Got it? Get it? Good. Biggest mistake number two. Y'all ready for this one? Girl. Number two mistake is trying or attempting to train or sell my genius. Boom. Let me explain to you what that means. So, hiring people, right? Taking that same story with hiring people that we are just talking about. I thought I was under the impression that I could give what was in on the inside of me, what God had stuffed down inside of me, that I could teach someone else how to do it, that I could train someone else how to be it, that I needed to replace myself. Because if you're not careful, if you are not, ooh, girl, nugget here. If you are not careful with the information that you are taking in, you will believe anything that you hear. Okay. Here's what happened to me. I was in a number of cohorts and foundations and read a lot of business books and did all the things that you think you were supposed to, all the checklists, right? And they tell you to build a team and they tell you to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. What if, and this is not meant to be limiting to for you to hoard and hold on to things. But it's super important for you to really get clear on what your genius is. And by definition, your genius is the one thing that you would do where by doing it, you wouldn't have to do nothing else. Okay. The one thing that you would do where everything else would become overall unnecessary, right? I didn't know what that was at first for me, but it's really important to take time and take a step back to identify what that one thing is. Okay. I am a visionary. I am a creative, right? I thought that I could sell or train that to others. I did because I thought that in building this brand, if I taught people the genius that was on the inside of me and try to create baby unicorns as well, that we would grow. Let me tell you, I lost millions from doing that ish. Millions. Okay. From trying to make another me. And that's what the business world will tell you. Oh, you need to replace yourself. You need to hire people that can do what you can do so that you can do more of it. Yes, and yes, and the yes is absolutely. You are not going to be able to accomplish anything on your own. And we all know that. Okay. The yes is absolutely. You need to be connected to people who are smarter than you at what they do. Okay. The and comes in where you got to really get clear on what cannot be given away. You got to really get clear on what your non negotiables actually are, right? And so I was once in a phase where I was trying to give away being the face of the brand and focus really on being a CEO and really focusing on the brain juice part of the brand, right? And then I slowly watched my numbers decline from doing that. I also sold a lot of my genius, which is my intuition, right? Giving a lot of credit to others for my own intuition, giving a lot of credit to others for my own knowings, knowing that it came from me. So if it came from me, I'm just gonna god daggone own it. It's right. So, and it's okay to say it's mine. It's okay to say that it's yours. That piece of you is yours. It cannot be given away. They can't be like you, sis. They can't duplicate you, sis. They might copy, but that pace hit way different. And here's the thing about you really being in your zone of genius for real, for real. Everybody want a piece. Let's just like really break it down. Everyone is attracted to your light because that light is around you. It is abnormally magnetizing. Abnormally, right? Right? They want to sit next to it. They want to learn from it. They want to suss it. They want to live through it. They want to live by it because it's so bright. But then on the flip side, they can also get blinded by it. Okay. They can also get blinded by it, which is why you have to do work number three to identify and do the inner work so that you're not attracting traumas. You're not attracting chaos from the place of lack, right? So that when your light is shining, you can attract other big, bold, bright lights who really for real don't even need your light. They're just there to stand next to your light in their own light. That's what you when it's healthy, that's what we attract. Okay? So then you don't feel like you have to give nothing away because everybody got their own. And it's beautiful being on a yacht, a proverbial yacht of people that have their own, right? And you are just one of the many geniuses in the room. And that is the way God created it. So, yeah, yeah. Because if you're not careful, you'll be the biggest one in the room. And we don't want that. We don't want that, right? We want to be surrounded and raise up others around us who are equally as brilliant, who are equally as brilliant as us. And we exchange, right? We exchange. And it's a beautiful thing. So my number two mistake was definitely trying to give my juju. And it's crazy because I have a son named Juju. Trying to give my juju away. You cannot give it away. It's you stuck with it. So you better figure out how to work with that thing. You better figure out how to biggin her up. You better figure out how to own her, how to style her, how to let her show up and let her show all the way out without restricting her. She don't get no restrictions at all, right? And so that is the place to arrive and to live. And here's the other thing, I'm not there, and I know you're not either. We're not there every day, every waking moment. But here's the important part about we talked about in number three is challenging the thought. Whenever there's a moment where, oh my God, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I don't know enough people. I don't have enough resources. The lack conversation that plays on hamster wheel all day in our heads, that's why you got to have that number three so that you can immediately combat it, right? And it might not happen instantly, but you have that on guard. You got it on standby. So as soon as you could recognize the thought, you were instantly challenging it. And we do it for 90 days. Challenge those thoughts for 90 days so that we can rewire the brain to think a new way, to think a new pattern. Okay. So thing number two, we're not selling away no genius. No, it belongs to you. It was put on the inside of you. God gave it to you. He trusted you with it. He assigned you to it. And whatever, he ain't gonna give you nothing. He's not gonna allow you to face any battle that you are not gonna be able to see your way through. And that is a guarantee. That is a guarantee. So I'm so proud of you already for agreeing to do the work and agreeing to identify what lives up under this fear, what lives up under me really trying to play small. What is that that's living up under it? So I can pull it out from the root. I can see it. I can challenge it. I can love it. And then I can send it away. Okay? Because that's what we're doing. Okay. So my the biggest mistake in scaling this brand quite successfully in a very short amount of time is going too fast. Boom! There it is. Boom! Going too fast, girl. Okay. So 12 years is a long time to be in business. I say going too fast because out of those 12, 5 to 6 were the scalable years. The other years were building formative pop-up shops, trade shows. We weren't doing those numbers in those first 6 years. It was the most recent 6 years. So doing that in for real, the time frame is that amount of time, the 6 years. But as soon as I started to get successful and like I was like, okay, we're growing, we're growing, we're growing. Looking around the world, especially on social media, you will be believing that you're supposed to be doing more, that you're supposed to be working on the next thing, that you're supposed to have the new next launch. You're supposed to be building the next thing, right? And I bought that for a good while, good while. That looked like people pleasing myself into a clothing line that I really didn't even want. I believed I wanted it and then came to learn that I didn't, right? Because I wanted to work in my zone of genius, which is accessories, right? But going too fast that I didn't have a moment to stop and think. Is this the right next step for me? Or is this the supposed next step for me? I'm going to say it again. Is this the right next step for me? Or is this the supposed next step for me? And by supposed, I mean the next step that might be trying to be sold to you subconsciously. The thing that people say you should or could be doing. You know by how it feels in your gut. You know by how it feels, right? That's the indicator. If it feels like flow, if it feels like ease, if it feels like ocean waves, and you're just traveling along naturally to a next step, whatever that looks like for you, that's how you know it's meant to be. But if it feels like climbing a mountain in high heels, which is okay and acceptable for a season because we got to grit it out, right? But God did not intend for us to live that way by a factory default setting. No. So that's why I say we're going from attaching ourselves to chaos to clarity because so many of us have bought our own BS. We have. I love Jesus and we're going to hear some cuss words on this podcast. So many of us have bought our own BS where it's like, oh, it's supposed to be hard. It's not. It is a peace is your portion. It is not. So in the places where you have normalized it being difficult and you have normalized struggle, it's so time. Oh my God, it's so time to do that. So for me, I had normalized going super fast. I had normalized boom, 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 until you got to walk that thing back and you got to sit yourself down and ask yourself, is this what I want for me? I understand what industry says I should be doing. I understand what people say I should be doing, but is this my right next step? And once you get super clear on what your ultimate end goal is, like I want you to dream so big about what your end goal is that it scares the bejesus out of you. Your end goal dream should shake you to your core. It should rock your world, right? But when you write that thing down and you begin to back into it and reverse engineer all of your day-to-day actions into that place, it becomes bite-sized manageable. Okay. So that is what we're doing. For me, it looked like going super, super fast. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And it wasn't until this year, honestly, we were in 2025, girl, that I was like, I'm going to sit it down. I'm going to park it. I'm going to park it. So much so that people ask me, Sharice, what's next? And my answer is consistency, the hardest thing to master in the world. It's so super amazing and cute to say what's next and try to bigging it up for our egos or whatever it is that that serves on the inside of us. But you know what? What I have decided for me, you decide what that feels like for you. But for me, it feels like practicing having my seatbelt on. Because when you really love yourself, when you really take care of yourself, your soul like a little baby, you wouldn't even do that to yourself. You would allow yourself to have grace and space to figure it out. You would allow yourself to feel through it. You would allow yourself to feel. You would allow yourself to not numb your way out of life in the guise, in the name of, I'm living in a place of chaos and this is just what it has to be. No. So this year, I've really been intentional about standing up for me, standing up for my emotions, standing up for the things that are important to my self worth. All of the ingredients, my existence that creates and that makes my self worth. It's not attached to things or people or numbers or any of that. I just wanted to defend my existence and I wanted to stand up for my existence, right? I'm a recovering people pleaser. My entire life, I've been conditioned to be there for others to the detriment of my own self, right? But I'm going to look out for somebody, right? And if you're not careful, you'll notice that that thing is rooted in fear, which then can become a toxic trait. Mhm. And you think it's a nicety. No, you're just doing what everyone wants you to do so that you can really feel better about yourself. Woo! I know. We're gonna do it together, sis. This is no judgment because I am here with you. I'm here with you. So I said, Sharice, in 2025, we're gonna go super slow, right? We're gonna go super slow and we're gonna do the things that only feel good. That's it. That's it. Regardless of what they say, what stories they tell, regardless of any of it, right? Because what has to be true is that your authenticity has to remain first. Your truth has to remain first. So if truth is first, then people pleasing doesn't have space, does it? Because the truth is, you don't really want to do it in front. Yeah, 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 the truth is, you don't really want to do it anyway. So why is it that you can't stand up for yourself and say that? And the more that you practice that, and the closer that you get to that space of really defending yourself, your truth, and saying it out loud, right? Being bold with it, brash with it. It may piss some people off. It may cause some people to tell misconstrued stories. It may, and guess what? Remember we talked about detaching from the attachment? Detach it. Let them talk. Last time you checked, their talk don't pay none of your bills. Last time you checked, the ones that's talking, you doing better than them in the first goddamn. Last time you checked, the talking ain't worth nothing. Okay? We're all born with opinions. So it's not bad that people have them. Okay? So then that means they can have whatever one they want about you. And it's okay. Come here, lay your head on my shoulder. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right, so I'm rocking like this. And girl, we rocking together. Yes, so when you slow down and you really decide for yourself what it's going to be for you, what makes you feel good, right? Then that's when the growth begins. And the growth is on the other side of the uncomfortable thing. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn our life lessons into moments of peace and moments of passion and moments of clarity because this is the life that we deserve. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's, whether you're listening or watching, into today's Grace Over Grind podcast. I will see you next week. We're going to be uploading on Tuesday. So I'll see you next Tuesday, girl. Until then, here's to more joy, more success, and more you.